Good evening, everyone. Welcome to ARMIET College of Engineering and Technology YouTube page. And friends, once again, we are there with new webinar today. You will be very super excited for today's webinar because it is very, very interesting. This COVID situation, all of us, each and everyone is going through it, and how artificial intelligence in COVID-19 can cure. This is the topic for today. And for taking today's topic with us, we have Dr. Arun Jamkar. He is well known in this fraternity and sir has done a lot of research in this. And for introducing Dr. Arun Jamkar sir, I invite Professor Surbhi ma'am to do the introduction.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to introduce our honorable speaker for today's session. So we are fortunate to have an eminent speaker for today's session, Honorable Dr. Arun Jamkar, sir. He is the ex-Vice-Chancellor, Maharashtra University of Health Sciences, Nashik. He is a pioneer laparoscopic surgeon, transplant surgery, and a teacher par excellence. Presently, he is the director of the postgraduate program, Research and Development for the MIT Group of Medical Colleges, Pune. Also, he works as a consultant at the Persistent Systems Limited, Pune, where he is designing software for healthcare industry. Also, he is associated as a Chief Medical Officer at Index Technology, US. He is the founder and director of the I4C, that is the Interinstitutional Inclusive Innovations Corporation, a platform to develop innovators into entrepreneurs, which are the co-organizers of the Smart India Hackathon. He's the Director Academics at the Galaxy Care Hospitals, Pune. A thought leader in POTS technology, he's also the brand ambassador of India for the BAPIO, that is the British Association of Physicians of the Indian Origin. Previously, he has also worked as Professor of Surgery at BJ Medical College, Pune, as also a Dean at BJ Medical College, Pune, and RCSM Government Medical College, Kolhapur. Currently, he is working on a project, iDoctor, an intelligent drug dispensing ATM that works on the symptom-based algorithm. Sir is also a guiding force for the Smart India Hackathon. His areas of present interest are the artificial intelligence in healthcare, electronic health records, health information exchange, and the corona pandemic. Thus, Dr. Arun Jamkar sir is not only a multifaceted surgeon, an eminent educationist, but also a versatile administrator, a mentor par excellence, and a globally acknowledged innovator. On behalf of the entire ARMIET family, I welcome sir for this session and request him to address the session. Sir, please.
Over to you, sir.
Am I audible there?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Surabhi, for your kind introduction. I'm extremely excited to talk with all engineering students on this topic, which is bothering everybody, the COVID pandemic, the artificial intelligence for the rescue. And I need to thank everybody from ARMIET Institute for creating such a nice visual. So it has sensitized people to join this very timely discussion for, say, answering the problems. And there are so nice visuals. So I hope I'll do justice to the sensitization and the inquiry points of all of you. So this is me. I've been introduced. So I hope your college has participated in Smart India Hackathon. And this year, the Smart India Hackathon will be say online, so digital, and it will be in the first, second, third, and August. And as a director of I4C, we are the organizing partner of Smart India Hackathon, where we want to promote innovation spirit of all engineering and say technology students. These are my, because you are all engineering students, so I am giving you my LinkedIn profile, Twitter profile, and my website. And whatever I'm going to talk will be available on my website. I have asked one of my friend who is working on AI systems in X-ray chest. He has devised a platform, so I thought let us contribute. I was quite impressed the way our program started, because every institute might give you education, technology, but then there are very few institutes which gives you values. And I think ARMIET is the only institute which I observed which gives you values. And the best part of the story is it is the name of mother of our founder president, and he proudly says Matru Devo Bhava. And these are the two programs where he invites mothers of students for the function. I was also invited for one of the function, and believe me, when I put on Google Matra Deva Bhava, the image, both the images appeared on Google. So that means it is very popular. So salute to you, Venkatesh sir, for creating this ethical and what's called the value-based evolution in engineering education. So I had been interested in talking on AI. I deliver several lectures. All these are lectures are available. Basically, I talk on healthcare. These are available in my website, arunjamkar.com. And then usually in MIT and everywhere I give these lectures. So let us start. Everybody is worried about Corona. So how are you? Are you okay? Can somebody answer?
Yes, we are going through it, sir.
So I think 2 or 3 mics can be on. Otherwise, you get lost.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
So this was a question asked by wife of Superman. She asked, "Are you going to do something to fight the Corona?" And then he says, "I'm doing it." And he shows staying at home. So I think staying home is one thing which is going to help all of us. Basically, all these pandemics which are coming, we are not prepared, because the Bill Gates visionary which he talked, that all the time we are trying to say that we are in sense with the what you call it, the nuclear war. And what we require today is something like this. Just I'll have 30 seconds from this video.
When I was a kid, the disaster we worried about most was a nuclear war. That's why we had a barrel like this down in our basement, filled with cans of food and water. When the nuclear attack came, we were supposed to go downstairs, hunker down, and eat out of that barrel. Today, the greatest risk of global catastrophe doesn't look like this. Instead, it looks like this. If anything kills over 10 million people in the next few decades, it's most likely to be a highly infectious virus rather than a war. Not missile.
So, because it's a little 10 minutes talk, I'm just going to narrate you that whole world is working towards only nuclear warfare, how to protect, and billions of dollars are spent. But the enemy today is a virus, and a virus can create a pandemic, and it can kill more people, as you've seen now. There are more than 1 crore people affected, and you can look at the mortality, it's in lakhs. So we are not prepared. We don't have epidemiologists, we don't have ecosystem, we don't have technology to be used, we don't have ventilators, we don't have at all. So I think with this Corona epidemic, we'll change all our priorities and improve the healthcare. Because now the country like India, which spends 2.85% of GDP on health. Actually, it requires minimum 10%. So let me just, all your non-medicals, I'll just explain that a virus is a very, very intelligent organism. Actually, it's not an organism. Virus outside the cell is dead, and therefore it can just stay for some time, depending on the say condition of those virus. And the virus has various things like now what we're interested now is what's called the spike glycoprotein, which is then say antigen available. These are the various proteins available. But I think they are most intelligent organism because they take into say what you call it as attack, and in cells creating proteins, it starts creating viruses. It's actually one of the most intellectual things that can happen. So this virus gets attached to the angiotensin converter.
The exact mechanism for this is not known. Most likely, as shown here, the human cell ingests the virus in a process known as endocytosis. Once inside the cytoplasm, the endosome opens to reveal the virus's genetic material, a single-stranded RNA. The virus hijacks the cell's machinery to replicate the RNA in N proteins and uses the endoplasmic reticulum to form its M protein outer layer and the all-important S protein. After replication, the virus is carried by the Golgi bodies out of the cell in a process known as exocytosis, so that it can infect other cells. Meanwhile, the stress of viral production on the endoplasmic reticulum eventually leads to apoptosis, or cell death. It should be noted that the mechanism of action for 2019 novel coronavirus is unknown. However, scientists in China have sequenced the genome, while others have used the sequencing to visualize the structure.
So where does this AI come? Now, a viral particle will have thousands of antigen, thousands. And we need to identify which one is useful for creating a vaccine. We'll come in detail a little later, but then we require an learning technique with a K-clustering, and therefore we identify which exact groups are required. Now, the basis of life is RNA, DNA with the Watson-Crick's model, and all these viruses, they are the RNA viruses or DNA viruses, only with a small thing. So let us find out what is the role of AI in fighting the COVID epidemic.
Is done on the binaries. Binary म्हणजे byte code आहे. पण एकदा झाला की परत ते त्याला मोठा डेटा लागत नाही टाइम लागतो. Just request.
Would you? Okay. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
There somebody need to be unmuted. Okay. So let us go. Now you are all engineering students, computer students. So I'll just look into the angle like an physician. So what is an AI and what is machine learning? What is deep learning? And then AI is defined as a machine with an intelligence. So where anytime it can do a reasoning, it can perform the task. It can have, say, what's called as a perception, reasoning, learning, communication, and it can think. So I think, I hope you all know about Alan Turing with the Turing machine, which is, I think, one of the very basic, we can't call it computer, it's a machine. And then he said, these are the visionaries. I propose to consider the question, can machine think? So Turing might be say, taken as a great grandfather of today's AI technology. Now AI came into picture. Then first task Watson address was the Jeopardy. Then Deep Blue beating the Garry Kasparov in chess. And then suddenly the low-hanging fruits were image handling. And image handling has given so much of what you call as edge in AI systems. Now in image handling, you require GPU rather than CPU. And the growth of CPU follows what is called as a Moore's law. I hope you all know Moore's law. But then when the GPU, the Moore's law is not followed. It is faster than Moore's law. And this is the guy who is the CEO of NVIDIA. And then NVIDIA shares are going up. because everywhere in medical imaging, you require GP. And I was there in San Jose. It is a huge mural saying that I am an AI. So they proudly wear that I am an AI. So I have even T-shirt on the same name. So let us just go out and discuss about various things. I just want to revise. So first thing is what is called as Internet of Things. So Internet of Things, because I hope all you know. So networking all devices, vehicles, appliances, everything to internet. And then Internet of Things is exploding. At present, maybe there are 50 billion, say, Internet IoT things available. So now Internet of Things coming to medicine, we call this as Internet of Healthy Things. And Internet of Healthy Things comes several headsets, clothes with sensitizing devices, monitors, glucose monitor, ECG monitors, pulse ox, and you name it, and everything can be connected. And where are you using this? So are you using this in COVID? Of course. We are using thermal sensor to scan body temperature while people come. And then we are using an aerial thermography using drones to find out are there any people who, say, wandering around with fever. Now IoT is an answer, and everybody, and engineering students and computer students, need to find out how IoTs of health can be used in Corona. And therefore, the ones you use, there will be less mistakes, less expenses. We can improve the diagnosis, and we can have superior treatment. Obviously, all these IoTs will create a challenge because of data security, because that's what something there. But then this is, yesterday I took that Internet of Things world, they have opened one competition for IoT in COVID-19, and this is the say URL given, and the last date is I think 11th of August. So all engineering students, all computer students, every students need to find out. Now at the end of this lecture, you'll be excited to have a lot of new ideas in health. So maybe take part in this IoT thing. Other thing which is coming is wearable technology. So wearables are coming big way. Now I wear an Apple Watch. It's a wearable, which is an ECG. There's a pulse monitor, and then so much so that if I play tennis, I just program my watch that the moment my pulse rate goes above 145, it gives me signal. And it is so intelligent that while doing a serve, if I slip my feet, then suddenly it says, "Are you fallen down?" And then unless I say I'm okay, it doesn't stop. So there are several things available in IoTs, say wearable technologies, and then that which can be used for Corona is what is called breathomics, where all the pulmonary function test can be addressed. And then there are several things are available. There are 7, say, top wearable technologies available. Something called the Skin, where you wear like an undergarment, and then it gives you stress level, sleep quality, activity, ECG, everything. Then there's something called as a Med Biosense, which gives you all say parameters. So all these parameters are useful because suppose you have some patient who has no symptoms, and then he might develop symptoms. So monitoring them will be useful. And then the best way to monitor this is what is called as a Respira Sense. Now this is a variable technology which can take care of your pulmonary function test. It can take care of breath holding time, and it can already use its oxygen saturation. Therefore, somebody wearing that and you are corona positive but no symptoms, this could be monitoring you for well. So I think this is one thing which you need to understand, that all these variables will improve the quality of care and improve, say, reduce the mortality. So let us say we have several things available in AI in healthcare. We have what's called wearables we discussed about. We have telemedicine. We have lifestyle management. We have drug discovery, genetic research, data analysis, hospital records. So everywhere AI is coming. And as regards, let us say how AI can help in corona epidemic. It can give you identify, track, and forecast outbreaks. It can help to diagnose viruses with variant technology. You can have something AI developing for viruses with the vaccine. Then there is a cognitive domain analysis for what's called as COVID infodemic. It can help you in develop drugs. And there are several others, but I'm going to just restrict to all these 5 or 6. And then if you can see this whole world with AI is working towards, now this is what is called as a screenshot of all the people working in the area of AI in Corona. Now, the problem with today is entirely different. So all published papers, every wearable technology, IoTs, everything, they're giving so much of knowledge that it is humanly impossible. So we are not just fighting epidemic. This is the Director General of WHO. Yet we are fighting something called infodemic. There's so much of information available that it is physically impossible. So that is what is called, say, big data. So we can see that more than 30,000 journals pouring more than 3 to 4 lakh articles which are coming, and therefore we require AI to do what's called as a cognitive domain analysis. Cognitive is knowledge analysis to find out. And then everywhere, as you said, you might be working on big data, but then big data in healthcare is indeed a problem. So first time in history, the big data is available. The big data is useless because cannot be used by individual physician. But then it is available in form of literature, in form of records. And then this explosion of knowledge is beyond anybody's capacity. But then at the same time, if some knowledge is available, so let us say you are putting some patient on some drug, and there has been a report of toxicity the day before yesterday. And this has to be used. Otherwise, you are working on same drug and the patient will die. So the big data available has to be used, and you require an AI. And this is entirely in the out of the what's called as human intelligence, because only 20% of knowledge we can make a diagnosis. So 1.5 million medication error occur, because if you say errors are there, and I think for all of this we require an AI. So now in medicine, there's something what is called as a sixth sense. So AI may not be enough. Now this is a terminology which I am inculcating in your mind, what is called artificial wisdom. So everybody in the world is working on AI, but let us work on artificial wisdom, where it is reaching top level decision making. It is going beyond AI. So the three main paradigms, what is called symbolic, statistical, and sub-symbolic. The symbolic would mean logic based, knowledge based, cognitive. So we have knowledge, perception, communication, reasoning, planning. And let us just describe the AI enables to mimic human intelligence. It take decisions. But then we are sort of an ML, what is called machine learning. It's a subset that includes statistical techniques, it's a data analysis. So whatever data we give, it gives in, say, what you call as, it learns by itself. The best quality of an ML is it learns by itself. And then we have deep learning, what's called as, it's a subset again, but where it trains itself to perform tasks, and it is being used in speech recognition, what's called NLP, image recognition, and therefore it goes inside. So AI, IBM Deep Blue, electronic game character, machine learning, IBM Watson, deep learning, AlphaGo, and then this is the what is latest.
Introducing Software Series 7. Start your morning with Summon. While you get ready, summon your Tesla from your Tesla app, automatically opening the garage, pulling out, and closing the garage for you. Combining a newly streamlined interface with the enhanced control and versatility of your daily commute. Over-the-air updates continually improve and add new features to Autopilot. Autopilot removes the stress from your commute. Designed for highway use, Autopilot assists you with the routines of daily driving, whether you're cruising or crawling. To the left and right of the speedometer, find the icons for traffic-aware cruise control and auto steer. These appear as gray when available.
So the Tesla auto car is entirely AI. But then believe me, whatever amount of AI being used in an automatic car, in healthcare you require only 10%. Let us go ahead, say up and discuss about, now this I'm just trying to revise the machine learning, and then we have machine learning, what is called as unsupervised machine learning and supervised machine learning. In a supervised machine learning, you give something label, and then through that it identifies, so what are the areas available. And then in unsupervised, we instead of giving a data, we give say data with no label, and then it identifies clustering and finds out the clusters. And we require all of them. Sometimes what is called as the reinforcement learning, where half of thing is labeled and half of is not. Now, so the supervised, unsupervised learning, say you do into clustering. So it uses either k-mean clustering, hierarchical clustering, and this clustering can identify things. Whereas in supervised learning, we have classification or regression, and then the several things are available. Usually we use neuronal networks, or random forest, or support B, and these are the various things which are available. And in a deep learning, it goes beyond. It works with an unstructured data. It was a large set of structured data, and then it handles complex solutions. Which now the basic advantage of deep learning is the feature extraction, and it creates better thing. So in a deep learning, you have input and output, and then you have several hidden layers where we want to find out which one is matching, and depending on complexities, the hidden layer increase. So in a medical imaging, they might have more than around 20 hidden layers, and therefore this at the end the features are there which extracted to the hidden layers, and then you have output. So I'll just show you one video of how the deep learning is done.
Algorithm intended to be used by a machine to perform calculations, which makes her the first ever computer program. In the first layer of the network, a CNN looks for the basic building blocks of an image. Basic building blocks of written language are letters. So in this analogy, the filters the CNN uses in the first layer would be the letters. Let's zoom in on the word Ada. Here's what the convolution process would look like for the letter A. When the A filter overlies the letter A in the original image, the convolution output would generate a strong signal. This signal would then be mapped onto something called a feature map.
The feature map represents how well elements in the image align with the filter. If something is there, the signal outputs white. If nothing is there, the signal outputs black.
CNNs generate a feature map for every filter. So in our analogy, there would be a feature map for every letter. These feature maps would then become the input for the second layer. In this layer, the CNN would spatially align and stack all those maps from the previous layer. This would allow the CNN to then look for short, specific sequences of letters in all the feature maps simultaneously.
So the CNN would use a new set of filters to look for specific letters that are adjacent to one another in particular sequence.
In our analogy, the second layer would look for places where the letters A, B, and A are in sequence together, making the word Ada. It would also look for places where the letters A, C, E, L, O, V are adjacent to one another, using filters for love and lace. The output of the second layer would be the feature maps for those three sequences of letters. In other words, in those feature maps, strong signals would be present where the sequences Ada, love, and lace are located in the original paragraph. In the third layer, the CNN would stack and align these three new maps and perform more convolutions, this time identifying where longer words and groups of words are located. So the CNN could, at this point, identify where in the original paragraph the sequences of letters and words making the phrase Ada Lovelace are located. In our analogy, we were looking for a phrase consisting of only two words. Had we been looking for a longer sentence or even a paragraph, the CNN would deal with greater complexity by having more layers. We've omitted quite a few details about CNNs for simplicity, but this captures the essence of the model. But what does this look like for actual images, like identifying diabetic retinopathy from an ocular photograph? Images are made out of pixels rather than letters. In a digital context, a pixel is the smallest controllable unit of image represented on a display. Each pixel is a representation of a tiny portion of the image. Think about pixels like creating a drawing with dots where every dot has a color value and an intensity. The more dots used, the clearer the image becomes. The filters a CNN uses in that first layer are small squares of pixels that correspond to things like textures, contrast between two colors, or edges. These are the image analysis equivalent of the letters used in our analogy. And as a CNN goes up in the hierarchy, it looks for combinations of these filters, getting more and more complex with each layer. As the complexity increases, the CNN gets closer to identifying what it's looking for. So the specific features analyzed at each layer help put the whole thing together.
So, for example, some of the earlier work showed that some layers tend to be better at extracting sort of like edge-like information, meaning that, for example, if you combine different kinds of horizontal edges, you might get a continuous line. Right?
So just try to explain that today all DL methods are being used for image processing. And then, so image processing, the label data, we have, let us say we are Tom, Jerry, Jerry. And then there's data cleaning, algorithms, model evaluation, and then output. So once the image comes, we need to integrate, clean, and then we have what's called the feature engineering cycle. And then generate features, then model, and then we extract, and then we get a new image. It extracts, and then with a Python file, we get and we deploy and we come to conclusion. So these are, I think, limitations, and these are the advantages of, say, AI. So where are they being used? Let us go ahead, and these are the various areas where it is being used. It's in skin, diabetic retinopathy, say endoscopy, angiography, ICU, everywhere it's been used. So the most rewarding thing is in diabetic retinopathy, where the images are there, and we are able to use for the screening, and then FDA has approved, say, screening of diabetic retinopathy with AI methods, because it screens faster and because it's not biased. And then we can do it for skin diseases because everything is visual and available. And then let us go to the radiology, and then we can use for lung nodules, vertebral fractures. So there are several papers available. And then same thing happens. Now these are the two or three, this is called a dual convolutional network 1. And then they are taking a frontal view and lateral view, and then going through the same thing of DL layer. And then we are able to identify, these are all findings of an X-ray chest. And then we can find out that the accuracy of dual net is as good as or better than a radiologist. And then this comes as in hotspots, and then goes inside. And there is another chest net algorithm where you can see the radiologist is 94% and is 0.994. So the algorithms are coming, they're becoming accurate and faster, and then they are going to help. So one radiologist who is going to see, say, 100 X-ray chests per day can see 500, and 90% of X-ray chests are normal. So the AI system can definitely do with their normal. Now, one of the biggest discoveries has been in the mammograms. The mammogram is a X-ray technology available for taking, say, images of breast for breast cancer. And then usually all these mammographic pictures are reasonably difficult to understand, and there are some spikes and then things. And then we go to the same layers, and then there are several papers available, and where we can see that a radiology resident is 0.8%, radiology is 0.8%, whereas the neural network is 0.89%. And therefore, the image handling with the AI, with the DL, is better. And then there's a paper available, which paper has created, say, in history, just come in January 20, where AI system for mammography, say, was better than a panel of 7 radiologists. So, with this background, can we use radiology for corona? Because the problem is early changes, what are happening, and we need to have confidence. And therefore, this is a workflow of an AI machine available with an AI technology. So patient gets scanned, then it's captured to the mobile, then it goes to the camera, the scan images go up, and then in the cloud, they come down, and with the AI system, it's diagnosed, and it helps and come down. And then the physician is able to say, and support is available. So I'm not going to go in much detail, because there are various models available, which are available on, say, as open source. And then the RISES, where I've been advising them, is giving the accuracy more than 90%. So only advantage what is required is we need to identify what are the earliest changes of X-ray chest which can be detected by AI. Now you need to get impressed upon. A radiologist look as an X-ray as a visual image, whereas an AI doesn't look as an image. It looks with the physical properties. As you said, cluster and the edges and all that. And you might have even wavelength and everything available. So there might be some areas of an X-ray chest in a positive patient which are not seen by radiologists, but they're seen by AI system. So this is a challenge you need to take on to find out the better system available. The RASES is doing in a serial X-rays and find out how they can be followed. And then these are some of the papers where the system was found to be better, because these are all medical papers. I just want to convince you that AI system and X-ray chest in COVID is giving better diagnosis. Then we have, can you do something in MRI or CT scan? Now this was a webinar of an Indian expert called Sachin Sharma, which I attended, and where he said that he is able to find out that those changes in CT scan before even the corona or RT-PCR, that is the test. But then obviously in India we have limitations of getting all patients with CT scan. But then these are the things available. So I think this is the first step which I want to insist upon is radiological images with the image handling technique with DL is doing a great job, and we need to find out how you can do it. Now then other thing is epidemiology. Epidemiology means how does the disease spread. Now AI has been used for a long time for epidemiology. The Madhav Marathe from New York is a pioneer. Then there was one patient of smallpox which accidentally came into tube of New York, and then he came into contact with several people. So administration of New York government wanted to immunize everybody in New York, whereas the Madhav Marathe gave a exact epidemiological output to find out how does it spread, how it will go, and then instead of immunizing everybody in New York, he just did some 5 to 10% population and saved at least $1 billion. So same thing happened with Corona. So while the Corona started in Wuhan, so the Google came into picture to find out how it is spread, and then the best thing that can happen with what is called as the Blue Dot. It's a company with a director called Kamar Khan. And then this Kamar Khan is a guy who had data of all flights across the country. And then this is, I think, a very pioneer work that whenever we have a pandemic going in, he is able to identify where it will go. So just let us see this video.
This coronavirus seems to have shaken up life as we know it. Inevitably, it's going to continue to spread. But how far and fast that's going to happen and what we're going to do about it are still in question. So could artificial intelligence play a vital part in providing some answers and maybe even improving the outcome? AI had an important role in the initial understanding of this outbreak. Canadian specialist Blue Dot deals with global epidemic intelligence and identified very early on that something was amiss through a combination of medical and airline data.
We were one of the first groups in the world that identified this outbreak. This was back actually on New Year's Eve day, the morning of December 31st. The machine learning algorithms that we've developed have picked up information in Chinese of a pneumonia, wasn't known to be a coronavirus, of unknown cause, centered around this market in Wuhan. When it was presented to our team, we recognized that there were parallels to the SARS outbreak 17 years earlier. So we knew immediately that there were some historic parallels here and that this outbreak really warranted our attention.
And this is where the human scientists were needed.
AI can alert, but can't yet do the investigation to say what's really occurred.
Detecting an outbreak is really just the first step. There are multiple other things that need to happen. Ultimately, we need to determine what kinds of risks does this pose.
So I think this is most important, that AI being used to find out how the disease is going to spread. I think similar thing can be available. So can we use AI for drug discovery? AI being used for drug discovery in various forms. Say Pfizer was using IBM Watson for immuno-oncology. Sanofi was using for metabolic disease therapies. So there are various drugs where AI has been used. So coming into this area, so there are several drugs available. A lot of them, they are already working in some viral diseases or something, a combination. So all these technologies being used to, they open the drug databases to find out the repurpose of drugs, and then open chemical database and to find out which one will use. And then there are millions of molecules which are being used, and therefore AI can find out which one is exactly working.
One day, AI might be able to conjure up necessary
So there's a company called
vaccines on
Benevolent
the
AI.
spot, or repurpose drugs to deal with new challenges. The latter being something Benevolent AI in London is already leading the way on. This company uses AI to better understand the mechanism of disease, correlating data on illnesses, drugs, and outcomes, and providing more information than any human being could ever come up with. And in this case, a potential lead. What are we looking at here?
This is a demonstration of our algorithm processing documents in real time, reading the abstracts of scientific publications to do with coronavirus, and extracting relationships between key biological concepts that we really care about to carry out drug discovery.
And at this point, we're just a few months into an outbreak that could really, really grow. How meaningful do you think this data is so far?
There's a huge amount of information being published. We're not just pulling out coronavirus information, but we're merging it with a lot of existing publications on underlying biology. Our algorithms reason over biology at multiple layers, from the nano world of proteins interacting on our cells, through this maze of biological processes, up to human-defined definitions of diseases.
It's very early days for the process, but it is suggesting what might be worth further investigation.
Now, a lot of people were looking at virals, antivirals, and how they might potentially, treat the disease. We looked at it from a completely different way. We said, what are the other types of approved drugs that might inhibit the progression of that disease in the body? So we surfaced a number of drugs, and then we did some experimentation based on that.
One day.
So the Benevolent AI, so they were trying to find out. Now the virus, what it just seen that it gets attacked to say AAK, and therefore all those drugs which are attacking that, and then they found out. Now this is the whole life cycle of a viral thing coming in. So AAK2, GAK, JAK, and then all these say available molecules which are already used were signaled out, and through that they came to conclusion that something called as a baricitinib can be used, and this is some drug which is coming. So this is using an AI technology, what's called biological data mining, and coming closer. So we can, now other thing which we can do is all those drugs which are already available through an AI to find out which one of them can be still used. This is called repurposing. And therefore I think these are the two areas where AI is going to give you a lot of clues. Then AI can work in say ICU monitoring, where a real-time monitoring can be done with the ventilators, and then we can share those ventilators, and then all those say patterns could be handed over by an image handling technology, and then they can give you a clue before. Then let us come to virus vaccine. Now the viral vaccine is same thing. So we are trying to do so what are the various proteins available which can be used, and therefore we have to find out how the AI can help. So and so at present everybody is working on what's called a spike protein, and then it gets attached to a molecule receptor called ACE2, what is called the ACE2 receptor, and then it's attached, and therefore we can find out how it can stop there. And the problem with this is the virus has many molecules, so which one can be given for vaccine, and therefore this combination is seen that GFQ-PT-NG-VGY-QPY is something which is a fragment which can give what you called as, if anything is going around, then this fragment is required for creating a vaccine. And there are something called as MSC analyzer, MARIA, with recurrent integrated architecture, where the MARIA can go and identify which antigens are required, and therefore which goes beyond to find out anything beyond can be done with a vaccine. So let us
Scientists at the National Institutes of Health are working to create a vaccine for the new coronavirus that originated in China. But they're not starting from scratch. They're employing an approach called vaccine rapid response platforms.
It involves high-tech methods that have the potential to shave years off of development time. Ideally, they'd offer protection while an epidemic was still spreading, instead of years later.
Within weeks of the world learning about the Wuhan outbreak, Chinese scientists uploaded the novel coronavirus's genetic sequence to a public database that allowed teams around the world to start designing a vaccine. Traditional methods require an actual sample of the virus. Typically, scientists inactivate a virus using special chemicals before it's put into a vaccine. When the inactivated or weakened virus is injected into the body, the immune system recognizes it as a foreign invader or an antigen. Vaccines use antigens to prime the body to protect against a particular virus. But vaccines developed with rapid response platforms work differently. Rather than directly injecting antigens into the body, these types of vaccines typically send instructions to cells in the body. It gets the cells to produce antigen proteins that are specific to the virus it's designed to defeat. These instructions are in the form of RNA or DNA, the molecules that contain the code for building proteins. Scientists say this process cuts down on development time because they don't have to grow the whole virus. Plus, when scientists identify and create the instructions for one virus, they can tweak those instructions to make a vaccine for a similar virus.
So think of the backbone as a software, and the new virus sequence of our target, like from the new coronavirus, that sequence that we designed in, think of it as a new cassette tape. So you can just slot it in.
You can slot in new virus antigen.
Melanie Sawville is the Director of Vaccine Research and Development at the Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness. CEPI is a global partnership that was launched at Davos in 2017.
We were actually formed specifically to look at this type of situation.
In this situation, the emergence of a new coronavirus, CEPI is funding several teams from around the world that Sawville says are.
So this is about how an AI system can identify exactly which molecule to be required, and subsequently the trials can go ahead, and then you can monitor those trials, and because it's helping in the drug development. Even if the size of the sample is small, it can give conclusion. At Persistent, we are using with bioinformatic technology, where we take on sequences and repositories, and then we want to find out the epitope. That is, epitope is a part of antibody. And so when antigen goes inside, it creates an antibody. And there are several things available called IgG, IgA, IgM. So we are discussing about IgG, and there might be some area of that IgG which attaches to the antigen. It's called epitope. And therefore, we do epitope analysis and to find out what are the various epitopes developing after the antigens. And then we can find out whether, so let us say we are working on a say viral vaccine. The NIV is working on one of the vaccine. So Oxford vaccine. So whether that whole thing is including that epitope. So we are giving an, it's not exactly AI, but then computerized technology to find out whether it includes those epitopes. Then lastly, let us go to what is called as a clinical management. So at the end, everything required for the clinics. And then everybody wants to think that AI's ability could be there. And as I said, there is a tremendous explosion of knowledge, and all these knowledge need to be crystallized. So what are your aims? We want to flatten the curve. We want to say find out whether climate plays a role, and whether less AI data available, can it conclude? So now everybody is now, I'm just trying to give you some of the things which attracted that people they do not die because of viral infection. Coronavirus, people are dying because what's called as say human response. And then human response comes through what's called a cytokine storm. And then cytokine storm is killing. And this cytokine storm is through IL mechanisms, IL-6, interleukin 6. Now, I was the one who did a PhD in interleukins, and therefore I was going through the interleukin storms. And then I realized that we have a monoclonal antibody against that IL-6, and this is called tocilizumab, which is used already. And therefore, I just put a link in, I put on Twitter that a cytokine storm can be treated because it is mediated through IL-6 blocker. and subsequently all big people think alike, we started using tocilizumab. So we want to have ivermectin, and there is a lot of what you call as say controversy about hydroxychloroquine, because the pharma industry is working against, because this is a very cheap drug. It's manufactured in India and it's anti-malaria. So people, pharma industry, they're against it, because if this succeeds, then their own investment will go out. And then for this, the big journals like Lancet and New England Journal of Medicine, they published some reports against, and subsequently they agreed that this was what you call as under pressure, so they withdraw. So at present we are working, we are using hydroxychloroquine for protection, and whatever the doses were given, the doses were given very high, and which produces cardiac toxicity. So these are all new drugs available, and then there is the pulmonary vascular, say what is called as the vessels of the lung, they get affected, and then we talk of remdesivir, and everything is coming. So what is important is there is so much of knowledge available. So how to do that, all this knowledge to be crystallized and then come to the picture, and then we have the AI system available. Now this is available by the say COVID-19 Research Explorer, and then this is an AI engine, and you just need to put. So this takes care of 100,000 articles on corona, and let us say we put deep learning methods for image in COVID. Okay, so I just put it here, and then it gives you all the references. So now this is an AI engine where it is going through the deep learning and all those CNN technology available, and it's going through all the data available, and then going through exactly, we have seen that video, and I think this is something which is more interesting. So I want all of you to look at this and then find out that similar machines could be available. So this is one. Other thing is called as a COVID scholar. So where it's a syntax, and then it works on Boolean say power mechanism. And then we have something called as a Kaggle.com. Now the Kaggle is also inviting applications for using AI for corona. So all of you can go to this website, and this is still open. And we need to find out that whole thing of knowledge is something we need to find out, like IBM Watson, where they are doing everything, not only paper data, but the written data, then data on the EHR records, everything is done. And therefore, all this now we're using IBM Watson for cancer. And same thing can be used. Now we can create a picture, something called as what's the cluster-based technology. So we have clusters of corona with clinical picture, radiology, hormone status, cytokine status. Then these are the various serum ferritin, procalcitonin, there are everything available. Then do an intervention to find out, this is where you require an AI to find out what works best in which cluster, and then monitor, and then give outcome. And then we have a morbidity, mortality available. This whole thing comes through machine learning, and it improves. So I think this is useful for a real-time management of data. So what is required is networking of all clinical data across the globe. So doing data handling model, you need to crystallize the data, then the cognitive domain analysis, then there's what is said as infodemic, then real-time dynamic outcomes, and then find out the most important thing that can happen with AI is once you have all these data available, we may be able to identify what's called the micro successes. There might be some 5-10 cases in some center which found useful, and therefore you can extrapolate. And then all this extrapolation of sample size could be done, and it's available for all clinical establishments. And then this whole thing could be used. So I want all of you to think in this direction, whether you could create a platform of doing all this AI model for developing a better management protocol. So the problem with, we have so many patients available in India, but then our data is never digitized. So even suppose in Sassoon, there might be thousands of patients. So all those patients in India, I think what is required is to convert that data into a digitized format, so that is available for the use. This I again put for LinkedIn and tweet. And then some of the companies approach. Now the TCS was willing to sponsor the digitization of the project. So I think this should be done. Now let us go ahead and find out where else can we do other than diagnosis, the detection, monitoring, and then they are using AI network for tracking outbreaks. Now what is required now is to think little out of box. Now this is a guy who created an AI machine on cough samples. So what he did, he just analyzed all cough of all patients with pneumonia, dry cough, corona cough, say early cough, late cough, and then he realized that once we have a corona or COVID positive, then there are some distinct changes, or distinct physical parameters available for cough, and then put into a deep learning method, and then you can realize that cough, then they were statistically significant that just coughing in an inpatient in front of a mobile can help you to diagnose. Now this is not patented, so all of you can think that we can just have an out of box. Now I think the cough would have a what you call as a physical parameter, because cough has a sound wave, and then it has a frequency, it has an amplitude. So this whole thing could be done, and then putting in a say AI model with a deep learning, you can able to identify. So let us forget about corona. Somebody of you can diagnose a bronchial asthma. Now, bronchial asthma, they have their wheezes. Those wheezes are so specific that suppose you get a physical property of that wheeze, and a asthma patient just coughs, he is able to diagnose, and somebody can give a telemedicine, and then life can be survived. So I think this is something which is most important to do. So we can do for face recognition, because face recognition is being used everywhere. You use Google Photo, you use Facebook, where they have image handling techniques, and all your friends' photo are put together. So we can have a face recognition to follow all these patients. And then DRDO has developed one mechanism, because suppose you are a corona positive, and suppose you are a carrier, and then look, say just touching the biometric and infect. So they have created a model of face recognition, so that they did not touch the machine. Then Google has come, Google and Apple, to find out what happens to all those patients who are coming close. And then actually there was some problem with privacy, but then the Google was able to identify through a Google Map technology to get the concerned parameters of the positive patients, and then putting them with your location and find out where you are, and then can give you. I think this is the one which was opposed because of privacy issues, but then I think this is the one which can help. Then we have an IIT Kharagpur guy who developed a AI-based model, so that the social distancing, anybody coming close to you, it gives signal. Now this is Arogya Setu. I hope everybody understands. But then Arogya Setu is just using database, and it's using same technology of Google Map. And this is an American app. Wherever you are moving, if you are closer to a containment zone, the app becomes red. I think they are using same technology. So my suggestion to you is all these technologies are available. So we need to identify out of box to find out how you, all as a common student, can do and create some solutions. And all the solutions could be AI-based or otherwise, and comes into innovations and come into something which can help. So I can request your administration, management to start some innovation lab, maybe fab lab. And all these things need to be done, provided what is required is an idea. So once you have an idea, you can always do and go ahead. Now, Government of India is so open. So everybody wants startups. So I think what is required is don't try to just complete your BE and BTech. Beyond that, don't go and just get a job. Rather, start a startup and give jobs. So I think this is something that I want. And suppose you are working on AI. Now these are the several platforms available. They're all free. TensorFlow from Google, it's working. And we have Google Cloud Platform, and Torch and Keras. So these all platforms are available for AI and machine learning. And what is required is idea and going through this. So at the end, how we can do a remote management. So we have a AI-based triage, and then we are working, as I said, on one drug dispensing ATM, which works on symptom-based algorithm. So it has three parts. The first part is it takes in data where there's a pulse oximeter, the temperature, blood pressure, and everything. And then we have second part where is a AI-based system, say what's called rule-based system of symptoms. The patient can be diagnosed just with the symptoms, and then the drugs are directly given. So I think this machine could be used as a safety to take care of doctors, so that now we have 100 patients in a flu OPD. This can be screened within 3 hours, and then anything positive, because there will be pulse oximeter, you can have a stethoscope with what is called as auscultating sounds of the lung, and then the doctor sitting next just can go through the data and can say this is the patient which has positive corona. So the doctor's safety is important, I think. So this is the machine which we wanted all of them to use, and this has been obviously read to everybody, and this is a BioRack project with the Government of India, and we can try and use AI system for, say, Ayurveda. But then what I want is same cluster-based analysis, that corona is a disease, it's a new disease, but then they could put into Ayurvedic factors, we'll go into dosha, agni, dhatu, mala, indriya, and then find out what exactly happens. And then we get a cluster-based analysis, find out what are the interventions available, going through the Sahitas, and then monitor with the modern medicine. If it's an outcome, if it is treating, getting corrected, then through machine learning improve, and then we have real-time management of patient. So we could develop an ML system for even Ayurveda. So I think with this, I just come to the end where I just narrated whole system of artificial intelligence being used in various aspects of AI. And I want all of you to find out how you can use, how can you do out of box and create a startup, create an innovation model, and to see that you make your ARMIET proud. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Arun sir. This is very, very informational and very insightful session. And we have got a lot of positive vibes that now it's the time that we start using and learn AI and make use of it. We'll start, sir, question answer thing. So first I'll invite Professor Surbhi ma'am to have the questions.
Yes, sir. Sir, our student is asking that what will be the AI's quest to limit human interaction? To limit the human interaction, what will be the AI's quest?
Can you come again?
Sir, our students wants to know that artificial intelligence, how it can quest to limit human interaction?
It won't limit human interaction, because all the AI systems so far, they are only to help humans to take better decisions. So everywhere, the human interactions will not go away. Actually, I have my co-author, Ajit Deshpande.
Yes, sir.
Ajit, can you answer this?
Yeah. So the whole notion of AI is to mimic the human behavior. When we say artificial intelligence, the basic behavior is it mimics the behavior of a person. In case of doctor, it will try to mimic a doctor. So we have to train that model and test the model, just like the way we train the kids. For example, now they have trained the supercomputer to play chess. So it mimics the behavior of a chess player, and all the moves are inside it. It predicts what you can do as a next move, and then it wins. But if you ask that same computer to play Ludo, no, it cannot play. So no way it can replace human beings, but yes, it can help in tough situations like COVID. It is of it could be of great help.
As I said, suppose there are say millions of molecules which can work in AI. It will take at least 100 years to go through the system to find out which one will work. Whereas through AI, that benevolent guys, they did in 1 month and found out with exactly what drug which can be used. I think that is what's important. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I request Mayank, Professor Mayank, sir, to have questions.
Yes. Thank you, sir. First of all, I want to thank you, Dr. Arun Jamkar, sir. Sir, we got a very informative session from you. So one of the question is asked by the student in the chat section. How AI is helping scientists in the fight against COVID-19 from robots to predicting the future?
No, so we were concerned today for using AI in Corona. Now, AI has a lot of potentials. As I said, you can have a robo, and robo can be trained. So let us say somebody has a cardiac arrest, and they have to use CPR. So an AI model can be used. Nowadays, in American cities, the CPR machine comes by drone, and then somebody can sit there, and then it can use CPR. So I think the robotics is coming in same thing. Now, robotics so far is only what is called as a teleoperating. So I hope you all know there's something called laparoscopy or minimum invasive surgery, where we put say telescope inside with a camera, and then we have multiple instruments available, and they are all connected. In a robotic surgery, everything is connected through a network to a console, and where a surgeon sitting outside operates like a what you call as video game. Now, the moment the operating surgeon and the patient, as are at distance, you can do anything. Now, there was one surgery done by somebody sitting in US and operating in India, transatlantic. So I think this is the mechanism. But then AI is not giving you anything there. The decisions are everything by human mind. Subsequently, you can have an AI so that suppose let us say I'm operating and I put the area, and then the moment I put them, there might be something like a video probe, or there might be some ultrasound probe, and then it can give you an image of what it could be there around before going inside. So that could be AI, which is trained through the earlier image handling model. So obviously at the end, it comes to an image.
Thank you, sir, for this answer. So one question is, the companies which are working in AI and developing the solutions, we see that major of these companies are outside from India. And why India? Can you tell or your views on it, how India can grow, or what is the position of India for AI development?
So whatever platforms I showed, the Google or the TensorFlow and all that, they are online free available. And the moment suppose you get TensorFlow, as I said, what is required is an idea. Everything follows. And all these platforms Google gives you. Now, in fact, there is something called as a Google Scientist, where suppose ARMIET has a problem. They can apply for the Google Scientist program, where you have a nice project, which you can't finance, and then you work with them. Your guys will work with them. They finance. They give salaries. They give everything. And at the end, they have some stakes. So I think this is something which Google is doing to improve. And Google is working on where? AI as well. They are working every time. So I think we need to find out. Obviously, India is not behind. We are one of the most intellectual nation in the world. Believe me, we underestimate ourselves. We don't know our power. We are what is called as slept tiger. And we go out and manage all those countries. Say you just see all the CEOs of US, they're all Indian. We are improving their standards and we are not doing for ourselves. And every time people say India is like this, India is like that. So I have simple statement. Your cards, the cards are not going to change. You need to train yourself to play well with those cards. Otherwise, the cards, new cards, there's no end to it. So I think India is coming in a big way. So if you have some ideas, you can apply because government machinery is already working towards that. And let us say TCS, they want to help everybody. So Infosys, they want to help everybody. So it's not that. No, most of the people, now I work with Persistent. Half of the guys, they are working on their own project, sitting in the department, and whatever spare time they have, they take permission and work on that project. Now, one of my colleague in Persistent is working on image handling, and it's not part of his job. So we are doing a lot of flexible things. What is required is idea. That's all.
Thank you, sir. That is very practical answer you gave, that Indians work very professionally outside. So we need to think on it, and we need to, we have all the opportunities here, but we need to work on it.
And we are the youngest nation.
Yes.
You know, number of smart kids in India are more than total number of kids in US because of population.
Right. So we'll move to next question. Survi ma'am.
Yes, sir. Sir, our students want to know that will it be possible to build artificial consciousness in the digitized structures of artificial intelligence?
Obviously, that is the future. I hope you have seen a movie called Passenger. Have you seen that movie, Passenger?
Yes, sir.
In that movie, it's an aircraft going for 100 years. And then suddenly somebody becomes sick. And then there is something called as an auto dock, where that whole thing is done by that machine. And the patient, that gentleman is saved. It's a small clip available. Actually, I didn't have much time. I can show you the clip in case I have time.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Fine, sir. Do you have?
Yes, sir. Sir, one of the students has asked, how long does this procedure take? Which places is it being applied, and how much does it cost? This AI procedure for the COVID-19.
No. Suppose, let us say, we want to think out of box. Now, the cuff engine, it's an idea. So what is required? It doesn't require anything. You have to just put it. Now you're all computer scientists. You do coding. You require Java or you require something. But what is idea? So the idea came from a Japanese idea. A dog in home, when he is exposed to a threat, some intruder in the home, the dog coughs in different frequency. So somebody observed that they might be just analyzing the wavelength of dogs barking. So they realized that there is, when the intruder comes, he barks the same thing. So they just create one gadget, put in the neck, and then the moment the intruder comes, the dog barks, he is able to identify, and then that gadget in the neck informs police and informs the owner. And this is a simple gadget. And you know that guy made $1 billion out of this gadget because there's so much of protection. So my requirement and suggestion is we need to look out of box. You go to the hospitals, there's saline going on, and everybody is looking at the bottle when it will end. The nurse comes 5 times because if she doesn't see, the air will go inside. Why can't you gadget? You put a weight sensor, put it 15 grams, and then just hang on that. The moment 490 grams goes out, it will give signal. It will go, this is a primary technology available. but nobody thought in that direction. And I suggest that even if you create that machine, you will be a billionaire, because every hospital has thousands of IVs going on, and this will reduce the tension of the nurses, the tension of doctors, tension of relatives. And don't look at it. You can create various things. You can have a wet sensor. You can have maybe a laser. Or there are several things available. So what is required is looking at in a different technology.
So this is opening, sir, entire ocean with intelligence, artificial intelligence. I mean, the opportunities are huge. Just we have to come up with ideas, right, sir?
No, other idea which I just want to tell you. Now, suppose your deep venous thrombosis. So what is required is to do an exercise of pushing something down and up, down and up. The moment you push down and up, then the veins in the calf, they empty. So somebody created simple machine, just a mechanical device where he just push and it comes out, comes up, down, and you have to do just maybe 1 minute and 1 hour. So this, imagine there is so much of problem of a deep venous thrombosis in air flights, because you're sitting there for hours together. And therefore, what is required? A simple thing. And I'm just trying to give you the several ideas where you need to do and what's called an out of box.
Right. Thank you, sir. Surbi ma'am, you have next question?
Yes, sir. Sir, our student wants to know that will artificial intelligence in future reach the state of self-perfecting intelligence?
As I said, add one slide where it shows about the future of AI. And now at present, it is crossing. But then subsequently, it can go up. Shall I show the slide?
Yeah, sir.
So this is showing you the efforts, AI versus human intelligence, and these are the early efforts, the current state, and slowly it will take over. And then AI exceeds human performance, reasoning, complex tasks, writing best-selling novels, performing surgery. So this will definitely go up. I think we need to find out. One day it will cross. At the same time, it is always to help people.
Right. Should we proceed for next question, sir?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Mike, sir, you have?
Yes, sir. Sir, there is a question that are AI threats to the job security and employment opportunity of technical staff and even senior executives? From one student.
No. AI is never a threat. So far, so much of development, so much of progress, not even a single job has been fired because of AI. AI will help you to do work better. That is the only thing important. So suppose he is a radiologist, radiologists work better with confidence. Same thing, suppose you are working in a lab, AI will tell you faster decisions, but nobody will lose jobs. On the contrary, there are new jobs in AI. Now imagine maybe 10 years before, nobody thought of what is data science and what is ML and what is AL, and all those jobs are coming. So we have the jobs in an area which were not known 10 years before. Therefore, all these systems are creating more jobs rather than reducing the job. Ajit, you want to comment?
Yeah. Yes, sir. So there are two things. One is a pre-COVID era, because I don't know what is the future. But if you look at the way the whole industry of travel picked up because of Ola and Uber. So if you see why Ola and Uber came to life, because there is excellence in the maps. And even in Pune, 10 years before, we have to go to every corner and ask where is that address. Now, with that address, anybody can drive to the location. But if you look at the whole technology of maps, and navigation. It took them about 15 years, 15 years to mature. And that is purely machine learning. Okay, they started with machine learning. They took the data from the earth and other sources and they trained their models. And some of us, we help them. We put the annotations on that saying that this is a ARMIET college and this is a temple, this, that. So, and they precisely know where exactly they're heading and location, everything is matured now. Because of this artificial intelligence, machine learning based models, the new jobs and complete new market itself was created. Post-COVID, what will happen to these services, that is unknown. But as Jamkar sir clearly pointed out, there are more and more opportunities are being created. And purely going by the numbers, this World Economic Forum predicted that something like 6 million new jobs will be created because of AI. It was a complete change in paradigm itself. But yes, the traditional thinking and the old degrees may not help. You have to adopt very quickly to the change.
So in common person's term, can we say AI is the next version of computers?
Yeah, it's a generation.
Yes, next generation of computers.
Generation, correct.
It's a evolution. It's a what's called a further step ahead.
Sir, connected to this, there is another question that we all expect that AI is for human health purpose. But can AI be also harmful to humans if a machine gets more intelligent?
Something there, sir. If you allow me. So very quickly, so there are two cases, very interesting cases. So one case is about, I think, of somebody posted that video on YouTube, and that is coming from, I guess, Ola. And there is this driverless car, and that hits a lady on the street in US. And the passenger is sitting relaxed there. Now it hits the lady. Now the case is going on, who killed that lady? And they are catching the CEO of the company. Okay, who made the technology? There is no driver there, by the way. And lady just suddenly appears in front of the car. And she's a stray person. In the night, the sensors could not detect. And she got hit. She did not die. She died in the hospital. And one case happened in a Volkswagen plant where somebody got killed, accident, and then got killed. So now the case is going on, who killed that person? Because it was machine. Was it programmed badly, or what is the AI? So those legal things and more complex human related stuff are evolving. And Dr. Jamkar will tell you more in the medical term also, in terms of what is explainable AI. The doctor takes a decision and they need to know rationale behind it. Why the computer is saying there is a disease, there is no disease. So all that. So, right, sir? So sorry, I just jumped in.
Yeah.
Right, sir.
Ram sir, I think I need to introduce Ajit.
Yeah.
He's the co-author of me. And then he has been working on AI in Corona. And they have developed a DL model. And I think they're reasonably successful. I give you data. And I think I'm just trying to help them. If I, as I said, find out early signs of an X-ray chest, where an X-ray can diagnose with AI before radiologist. That's some challenge. I think same thing can happen.
When this talk was going, I was just wondering, now in last few days, when the Sushant Singh case is going on, maybe some artificial intelligence was there, then we could have got the real result of it. Sir, if you don't mind, we can continue more questions because on our YouTube channel we are getting, students are so much interested. We are getting lots of questions.
No. My whole aim of talk to create your ARMIET into innovation hub.
Okay.
And
sir.
They should just encourage.
Yes.
They should create a lab, the fab lab, with computers and everything.
This kind of support we need, so that students who are there with us learning, and they get this opportunity where if you can mentor, then our students can really step into this artificial intelligence, and maybe down the line, great future we can have.
No. My suggestion is get out of box. Don't try to think of curriculum.
Right.
Curriculum is just to help you to find out what you know.
Yes.
And all our teaching system, as you said, we need to modify.
Yes.
Because we still go back. But I hope you know and agree with me. The way you passed your BE Same mechanism are using today for the bee.
Right, right.
And in outside, everything is changed.
Right.
So more jobs will be coming because with Corona, all exams will be online. So we need to think in terms of giving online practicals,
Yes.
online say whole exercises. So because I was just discussing, we are worried about taking exams because we do not know that we can have 100 sets of paper like in GRE, depending upon differentiation index and difficulty index. The moment we need to convince Supreme Court, because in India exams are controlled by Supreme Court. So we need to just convince them. So we can't have exam every time. Why every set of students have same paper? Create an equal paper, or maybe even if you have 10 papers of same standard with the difficulty and difficulty index. I hope you might be knowing some other technology. So if you have 10 papers, so everything in curriculum is covered. And you can give 10 papers every day you change. That's good enough.
Yes, yes, sir. This the new ideas need to be implemented. I'll proceed to next question. Surbi ma'am, you are taking?
Yes, sir. Sir, there's one question in the chat box related to how artificial intelligence will help in dentistry things.
Yes. Now, so dentistry, we have created one robotic surgery. Now, the most difficult thing in dentistry is implants. And while we put the implant, even if you have an X-ray, you have to create a hole, and then mandible, that is lower jawbone, or the maxilla, the upper jawbone, it has to go inside. So it's programmed. You take serial X-rays, you create a sort of a virtual city, and then the robo comes into picture, and then it just exactly puts it inside. If you want, I can show that machine. And then this is with AI and dentistry, because it's not possible in India because it's very expensive. But I think in the US, all dental implants are being done with that AI assisted robo.
Yes, thank you, sir. So there's one more question, that can we combine material science with robotics?
I think I'm not much aware. Ajit, can you answer?
Yeah, but what is that material science? You're talking about 3D printing, that kind of stuff. So 3D printing is already there, popular in, they're using airliners, and this is purely based on the machine learning algorithms.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Sir, there is a question where we are standing using AI in medical applications in India.
As I said, we are already using AI for X-rays. We are using AI for EHRs, electronic health records. We are using AI for, say, maybe some drug developments. So I think AI is being used everywhere.
Okay, sir. And sir, will artificial intelligence in the future reach the state of self-perfecting intelligence?
So that's precisely machine learning.
Yes.
That's precisely machine learning. Now, as I said, we were discussing about our eye doctor model. Now, in eye doctor models was 1,000 models available. And then all those symptoms, they are uploaded. And then we are correlating with the diagnosis with the outcome. And then machine learning can improve. So at the end, while the machine learning will improve, it will improve the doctor's decision as well. Earlier, let us say, now it is coming that suppose you have loss of taste. The loss of taste is one of the signs of corona. So earlier there was no loss of taste as signs, but this has come through an AI system analysis of all the symptoms of every patient. So through that, they come to conclusion with the machine learning that this could be added.
Yes, sir. And sir, will it be possible to build emotional intelligence in AI?
There's one film by Stephen Spielberg on AI. I hope you know, it was showing about having an emotions in that model of a robot. Actually, I have all those clips available, but then I think it's too late. I took a lecture on robotics.
Yes, sir.
Recently, where we showed about robots coming, and then that intelligent, say, emotional robot coming.
Sir, our students are very confused about machine learning and artificial intelligence.
No.
That, yes, sir. Please.
Shall I show the slide?
Yes, sir.
So AI is just giving you an human intelligence using if and then rule, decision trees. So this whole thing is AI, and machine learning is a subset where we can do and what you call as statistical techniques enables machine to improve the task. So what is important is in machine learning, it's a data.
Okay.
It's a data which is given. On that, the machine works. And machine learning gives a statistical analysis tools. So the moment something comes to machine learning, we have a labeled data available. So we can either do what is called as a supervised learning or unsupervised learning.
Okay.
So supervised learning means, let us say we have an image of apple, and then we have several images available. So what does it do is you are trying to find out which image matches apple, because we are trained them with images of apple. Okay, and therefore once the apple is there, it will find out, and therefore we require, these are the various techniques available. In an unsupervised learning, we don't train them. So what we do is we just say these are the images. So what does it do is it finds out by itself, so what are the clusters available, and then names those clusters and identifies those clusters. And this is what is called as a k-mean cluster, hierarchical cluster. And therefore it does it on its own. So this is unsupervised learning. Whereas a deep learning is going beyond and to find out what happens. So deep learning is the application of machine learning. So these are all algorithms which are coming in deep learning. And in deep learning, what are we doing is all these neuronal networks. So it's like a brain where the say network is there, and then we are going to find out. Can I show a video if you have time?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Ram sir, please allow him to share the screen.
Yes, sir. You can do it.
Okay.
Hello all, my name is Krishnak and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today in this particular video, we'll be discussing the most fundamental thing.
You need to share the screen.
Like, what is the difference between artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning?
Sir, your screen is not shared.
I'm just going to write it as DS, that is data science. Now guys, I probably think in my...
Is it audible there?
Yes, audible is there, but sir, not shared.
The video is not
visible.
Okay, wait.
You need to share the screen.
So my screen not share?
No.
Yes, sir.
Yes, now it is seen.
Is it seen?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Video, I had to upload this particular video as first. but you know, I just went with the flow. I missed about this particular topic because many of you still have various confusion regarding it. So in this particular video, I'm going to clear the confusion and I'm going to tell you what exactly is artificial intelligence, what exactly is machine learning, what exactly is deep learning, and how do we use data science considering all this particular technology and work. So let us go ahead and let us just think. I'm also going to create some Venn diagrams. So let me consider that this is my Venn diagram of AI. And the main work of AI, you have heard of AI applications, you have heard of AI engineers kind of positions. So AI basically helps us to, it enables the computer or machine, it enables the machine to think. It enables the machine to think. That basically means without any human intervention, the machine will be able to take its own decision. And always remember, guys, whatever I'm talking about over here with respect to AI, right? This is the final goal. You are basically creating an AI application, a self-driving car, that is an AI application. An app which actually uses machine learning and deep learning within them is basically an AI application. It does some kind of task. So finally, this is my final goal. I have to reach over here and create an AI app. Okay. Now, when I talk about machine learning is a subset of AI. Okay. So machine learning is a subset of AI. So what does machine learning help us to do? It provides us statistical tools to explore the data. Simple definition, guys. It provides us some statistical tools to explore and understand about that particular data. Now, when I talk about machine learning, in machine learning, you have three different approaches. One is supervised machine learning. I'll also discuss about what exactly is supervised, okay? So the second technique is something called as unsupervised machine learning. The third technique is something called as reinforcement learning, or this is also called as semi-supervised machine learning. Okay, I can write it as semi-supervised. So this techniques of machine learning is basically ranging in this. Let me give you a very good example of supervised. So in case of supervised, we'll be having some labeled data, some past data. And with the help of this kind of data, we'll be actually able to do the prediction for the future. Let me just take a very good example. Suppose based on, I have two features in my data set like age. I have not age. Let me just consider that I have height and weight as my two features, and I want to classify whether that person is belonging to an obese category or whether it belongs to the fit category, right? So this kind of data, initially, whenever I'm making my model, at that time I'll have this data in hand previously on. And what I'll do, I'll create a model, train on that data, and with the help of those kind of data, I'll be actually creating a supervised machine learning model. That basically means, so in case of supervised, we have past data, past labeled data. Okay, we know what will be the output of this particular data. Now, in the second category, when I talk about unsupervised machine learning, here I'll not be having any labeled data. That basically means in my data set, I will not know what is the output. So in unsupervised machine learning, we usually solve clustering kind of problems. Clustering, there are different clustering techniques like k-means clustering, hierarchical mean clustering. So in unsupervised machine learning, we will actually be solving clustering techniques. And when I say clustering, what exactly it does is that based on the similarity of the data, it will try to group that data together. And there is some mathematical concepts like Euclidean distance actually used inside that, apart with some other techniques also. So most probably here are two different algorithms or three different algorithms. One is k-means clustering, hierarchical mean clustering, DB-scan clustering. These are the three popular clustering algorithms that we basically use in unsupervised machine learning. Now, in case of reinforcement learning, what will happen is that some part of your data will be labeled, and later on, some part of the data will not be labeled. So the computer or the machine learning model learns slowly by seeing the past data, and it will be learning as soon as the new environment, new data will be coming up. So I hope you understood this. That is what we are actually doing over here. The most important part is that we need to have data. It also provides some statistical tools to analyze, explore, and analyze the data. Okay, and this is the 3 different techniques that we basically have in machine learning. The third part, which is my deep learning, is again a subset of machine learning. Now, why did deep learning got created? So what scientists thought is that, can we make the machine learn like how we, with the help of human brain, actually try to learn things? That was the main idea behind deep learning. So over here in deep learning, you create architecture which is called as multi-neural network architecture. Multi-neural network architecture. So at the end of the day, we are basically using multi-neural network architecture, and we are actually creating some deep learning neural networks. The main idea behind deep learning is to mimic human brain. How human actually learns those concepts. Similarly, we are creating models over here which is learning those things. And the most important thing is multi-neural network architecture, right? And in deep learning also, you have various techniques. One is ANN, that is artificial neural network. The second one is CNN, that is convolution neural network. And the third one is RNN, which is called as recurrent neural network. Most of the problem statements, most of the data which is actually present in the form of numbers will be solved with the help of ANN, artificial neural network. Suppose our input is in the form of images, we will basically use CNN, that is convolution neural network. And suppose if our input is in the form of time series kind of data, at that time we'll be using recurrent neural network. Apart from this, there are also techniques like transfer learning. There are some advanced neural networks, extension of the CNN, advanced CNN. Suppose if I take an example of masked RCNN, right? So these are some advanced neural network architecture where the base is actually a CNN architecture. So you should try to understand this. First of all, I'm actually using these concepts of machine learning and deep learning, and the main goal is to derive an AI application. By using these particular techniques, I want to create a model which will be, I want to create a self-driving car. So that is, self-driving car may be an AI application. Okay. Now the question arises, where does data science fit into this? Right? Now data science is a technique which tries to apply all this particular part. I mean, all these techniques that is basically machine learning, deep learning. And apart from that, it also uses some tools, some mathematical tools like statistics, probability, linear algebra, a whole lot of different maths like differential calculus and all, right? And that is what this is basically my DS, that is data science. So a data scientist will have to work on ML, DL based on the type of use case by using some mathematical tools like statistics, probability, linear algebra, and many more. Okay, and he may work in this 3 kind of machine learning, he may work in this 3 kind of deep learning techniques, right? And this is the basic difference between an AI, ML, DL, and a data science. You have a whole lot of these things that you basically learn when you want to become a data scientist. Isn't it amazing, right? Because I have actually worked in each and every part of this, all the techniques that I have actually written now over here. I've created some very good AI applications, some of the recommendation systems, super cool recommendation.
Thank you, sir. I think this video has explained a lot of things. Practical planning of AI software.
Yeah.
Sir, we have 1 or 2 questions for Ajit Deshpande sir also.
Yeah, I think he can be a role model for all of you.
Right, sir. Just now, one good news is I just got message from our trustee Venkateshwar Gupta sir that we want to set up a dedicated lab for AI in our college.
Yes.
And we definitely need help of your sir, Ajit Deshpande sir, and Dr. Arun. Your support is needed. So can you, sir, guide like?
But I think you don't have an image handling lab in computer department.
We already have a computer department labs and all this.
We don't have image handling lab.
I think mine sir knows more on it.
Yes, sir. Sir, we are having IoT lab in our college. That is Internet of Things lab. And we are also having the subjects of AI and AISC in final year. So some of practicals we are working on the existing systems. We are not having a dedicated AI lab.
Okay. No.
So we want to,
because
sir,
the image handling is one of the low-hanging fruit. So we should try to develop an image handling lab because it doesn't require anything. You have a computer lab, you require latest computers, and then all those softwares are open source.
Okay.
And Ajit will help you to develop all that.
Yeah, that is what, sir. Guidance is needed.
Sir, that is we need some guidance to develop this lab.
Sure. Yeah.
So, sir, can you guide, sir, which stream of students it is more easier for them to adapt to AI development work?
Ajit?
Yeah. So, again, I'm with Dr. Jamkar sir only. So my thinking is slightly different. And I'm working with IIT Bombay and NIT Raipur and few more colleges already. So my observation is, I think this branch, etc., the notion of branch is completely changed. I work with student of architecture. He just passed out of first semester. Second semester is not yet passed. And he could develop a good R programming model for site analysis. And even my last presentation was developed in R programming language, not in PPT. So it is possible. So I don't think it is one, it is related to any branch. Second, Dr. Jamkar sir has already told you that there are several resources available. For example, now what is the current problem? Current problem is COVID. So COVID, how do I solve a COVID? COVID could be transportation problem, drug discovery, treatment, several aspects. The competitions are announced by Government of India, Kaggle, there's so many competitions. Even Amazon has announced the competition. So allow students to appear for that, and whatever help the enabler, I think we should be more enabler. And super talent is already available in every college, and they can definitely develop something useful for the society. They can build their own startup while they are studying. Just like in US, right? The US students are given the opportunity. I don't think it is really anything to do with the branch, anything to do.
This is where, sir, we want the enabler thing to work on.
Yeah.
Our students take in the startup campaign and take advantage of this. This is where we want to work and focus and need your help in it.
Sure.
So in addition, we should convert calamity into opportunity.
Right, sir.
Today, what is happening? I showed you those both engines. You put I just put image data bank for COVID, and there are 11 banks available, and everything is say free and open. So all those platforms are open, all the softwares are open. So what is required is somebody. Now I've been sitting for last 15 days to talk with you because you are engineering guys. Right. So far I have delivered lectures for medical guys.
Right.
That's why actually that video was useful to me. So yesterday I got my ideas cleared after that video. And what is AL and what is ML and what is AI,
right.
And its relationship.
So see, sir, that is what your advantage. Now, when you told that Amazon is floating with these things, India, the government also is coming up with this various campaigns in it. So then we also can share with our students and tell them that yes, you take advantage in it, and we as a college we are ready to support, and they then can enter AI mode.
Mayank sir just said they have IoT lab.
Yes, sir.
So just identify, find out somebody can compete for the IoT competition.
Okay.
I told you that I showed you about the IoT competition. Yes. You look at it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
IoT World competition and
actually, sir, in coming next year, we have already adopted this artificial intelligence and machine learning branch in our college. So we are going to start this branch also, sir. So that's why
Pune University, it is mandatory. Okay. They have image handling labs in each computer department.
Okay. So now, sir, since our college is also having this additional stream, so after this lockdown, sir, we would wish that you come and visit our college and have some sessions for our students.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
But till then, I can talk online.
Yeah, of course. So we can use the advantage. Any more questions, Surbi ma'am?
So was a small question from our Dr. Botra sir regarding this pranayama and yoga, how it will help in this COVID-19 treatment. Like, will it be useful, and moreover, how can we use it with AI?
Actually, pranayam is about controlling breathing. And once you control your breath, so there are various types of pranayam. I all the time do, say, Bastarika in the morning, and then that cleaning pranayam called Anulop Vilop. And they just try to empty your lung with a forceful breathing. So let us say we have some particles which are gone inside, which are nanoparticles. With the forceful expression, they will go out. And as I said, you can have an AI system to develop to training. Now, I use Xbox. I was talking with him about Xbox. And in Xbox, there is something called as Your Fitness. It's a DVD available where we have a yoga, what's called gesture-based yoga. So you do all those asanas in front of it, and then it corrects. It takes your images, manages, handles with the image, maybe same thing like a machine learning technique, and tells you to correct by pulling the leg, going down, and then it gives you marks. So I think that gesture-based yoga with an Xbox is something. And I want, because Venkatesh sir is interested in yoga, you start with a gesture-based yoga lab. So just buy one Xbox, and because that whole thing, the gesture, that's Kinect, you know, Kinect. My MIT students, they use that Kinect for creating a robo, and they showed about say a robo playing badminton. So I think this whole thing can be done with all that.
Thank you, sir.
I think, sir, you have, thank you so much. You have given your so much extra time, and all the questions which are coming, you have answered each and everyone, each of the questions.
And let me declare, they can always ask me questions on my email, and I'll be very happy to network with them. Yeah. Now I was just giving one lecture in MIT, and then there is one guy who said, "Sir, I don't have X-ray chest. I have developed an image handling model." So next day I sent him some 25 X-rays. So all the resources of medical side can be given, and give him a guidance. Then he wanted some DICOM and all that. I said, these are the images given by my student. So network and help could be available.
Right. So, sir, we will have more sessions like this, because there is lot many things to learn. This was the start, and in the first session itself, so many opportunities have come as a college, as students, as individuals, as entrepreneurs, things to explore. So, a lot of things are there in it. So once again, I thank you, sir, for sparing your time and giving all this insightful information on artificial intelligence.
Thank you. Thank you. And I am proud of Venkatesh, and this is his college. And I believe not only he creates competent engineers, he creates ethical engineers.
Right.
And I am supporting his value-based education, because at the end, what is important is values. So people grow with values, not only by technology. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I invite Professor Surbi ma'am to give the official vote of thanks.
Yes, sir. So thank you, sir, for this very informative and valuable session. First, initially, I'd like to propose a vote of thanks toward management, Shri A.V. Gupta, sir, and Dr. L.S. Botra, sir, for arranging this wonderful webinar. Also, I would like to thank Honorable Dr. Arun Jamkar, sir, as also Ajit Deshpande, sir, for this informative session on this AI, and also the question and answer session was very interactive. I also appeal a vote of thanks towards the digital team, Swapna ma'am and Ram sir, for their technical support. I'd also like to propose a vote of thanks to my co-host, Mayank Mangal sir. And finally, I'd like to thank all our participants for the active participation, and all of our students for asking these questions. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, sir.
How many students attended? Surbi madam?
Sir, it was over more than 100 plus.
Okay, thank you.
Great.
Thank you, sir.
Right now it is 104.
Thank you once again, Dr. Arun sir and Ajit Deshpande sir, for coming and spending this time.
Yeah, bye.
With this,
Ajit, okay. Thank you, Ajit. Because I just 11th hour, I just put an invitation.
No problem.
And he joined. So it's nice of him.
Thanks.
And we have to write an article on that medical imaging.
Sure, we'll do that. Yeah.
Thank you. So friends, with this, I hope everyone enjoyed. Please subscribe to our channel, YouTube channel, so that continuously we bring this kind of sessions. And like speaker with us, very difficult to spare their time, but we have occasionally on our channel. So please subscribe to our channel. Follow us on our Facebook page and Instagram page. Thank you.